Guys, good morning. Happy Friday. It's the best day of your life. Today, I want to talk about decisions. A lot of us are not making decisions. When you know that you need to make a decision, you put it off, you put it off, you put it off. I always said, even when I had tons of employees, I'd say, listen, you can't make a bad decision. The only bad decision is not making a decision. If you make a decision and it doesn't work out, then you're one step closer to finding a solution. And I used to tell my employees, I'm like, hold on, you're the expert at that particular thing that you do. Like, why don't ask me? You have more background information to make the decision. So I trust that you will make the decision. Just make the decision. You know, I want to take decisions to another level. There's a lot of people that, hold their whole entire life because they're waiting to make a decision. Like, I'm not going to go on that vacation before I have the money. Like, oh, I can't plan a vacation because I don't have the money. Well, you don't need to have the money to make the decision to take the vacation, or once we get our finances straight, we're going to buy a house. Well, you need to make a decision to buy a house first. Then you will get your finances straight. Once you make that decision, it is the first domino that creates multiple other decisions that have to happen. So you don't kid yourself. Life, you're going to say, I want to wait for this, wait for that, wait for this, and then I'm going to do that. You won't do any of it. You won't do any of it. I watch people all the time say, oh, I'm going to do that when this happens. I'm going to do that when this happens. Well, guess what? It's never going to happen. You need to make the decision. Once you make the decision, you will make it happen. Now, how you make decisions is a whole nother thing, right? How you make decisions, I generally put in my calendar like time to contemplate a decision, or something that I'm thinking about. So I'll put like an hour, and you don't need an hour, and I'll write contemplate summer vacation. And you may think that's a waste of time, but it's not. So I don't always meditate on it, but some things I will meditate. If I have no clear idea of what I'm going to do, I'll sit there and I'll meditate and I'll think, okay, vacation, where we want to go, and this is, a fun thing to think about, but it could be a pretty tough decision. But anyway, 30 minutes uninterrupted, not looking at your phone, not looking at your computer, not talking to somebody, you will get all kinds of possibilities that come to you out of nowhere, right? They're really not out of nowhere, but let's not get too crazy. You'll get the answers, or it will give you more information so that if you can't make that decision there, you schedule another time soon and you can finally make the decision. But you have to schedule something to make the decision. Just make decisions. Some decisions I understand you can't make in 2 seconds. A lot of them you can. A lot of them are like, it's ridiculous. Are you really going to wait to decide? You know what I'm talking about. Something that you really could, it's not going to kill you either way. Just make the decision. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. But there's some things you need to contemplate. For me, I put it in my schedule and I take a half an hour. I book an hour, but I take a half an hour and actually contemplate that. Now, if you are not doing something in your life because you think you're waiting for money, finances, finding the right person, blah, 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 you're kidding yourself. You need to make the decision. When I find the right person, I'm going to, buy a house. Well, guess what? Make a decision to buy a house. Maybe that right person will come there. The world will bring you, the universe will bring you that which you make a decision for. If you don't make a decision, it's not going to bring it to you. And the decisions that you can't see the answers to are the hardest decisions to make. So, for instance, most people, that's the biggest problem is like, hey, how do I take a vacation? Well, okay, I need X dollars. I need to do this, and then I need to call a travel agent, or I need to go online and I got to check the prices. But that's okay. You can make that decision because you can see how you can make that decision. The decisions that you don't know how to do are the most important decisions you got to make. Like, how am I going to, start that new business, right? And you don't know how to start that new business. And even if you had run many, many businesses, there's a lot of things you need to contemplate. But guess what? You need to make the decision first. I make the decision. I'm starting this new business. Matter of fact, I did this after my last mastermind, maybe like, I think probably a month ago, we were there, maybe 3 weeks. I made a decision. And what I did, I incorporated a company immediately next week. So guess what? Now I got this company. So now I'm sitting here and I've been dilly-dallying for 3 or 4 weeks. Do I do this first or do I do that first? So I actually I'm making myself accountable. I'm actually going to go into ChatGPT because then I've also contemplated, is this the best use of my time? So I'm just giving an example of I struggle with this. Everybody struggles with decisions. I'm much better than most people, but sometimes, so I had this great idea. I incorporated the company because I knew that would be the first step. I made a decision. I incorporated the company. Then I didn't know, do I talk to this person or which of these two things do I do first? Yesterday, I said, all right, I'm going to do this one first. So I started doing that. Now I'm waiting for this guy to get back to me. And then I said this morning today when I'm thinking about it, and I get, sometimes I get him in the gym. Sometimes I get him driving to the gym. Sometimes I get all these inspirations in the shower. I said to myself, you know what? I got a lot of opportunities. Is this the best use of my capital and time? So I'm going to go into Chat GPT. This is how I'm going to make the decision. And I'm going to say, hey, this is a business I'm thinking about starting. This is the amount of capital that is required. This is what I think we can make. This is the time that needs to be invested. But I have these alternatives. Which one of should I pursue this one or just do these alternatives? So this leads me to something else I think is just in flow state here. So I'll tell you. I had a student. Well, I'll elaborate on this on a different Daily Nugget. But I have a student that is in a market and he's killing it in the market. And so he's killing it in the market. He decided to go to a second market. Well, and I'll elaborate more on this. I did that a bunch of times in my 20s. I'm starting to make money over here. You're like, oh, I'm making money. Let me invest it over there, multiple streams of income, but listen, if you're great at something, you can always get better. You can be the best. You can get better. You can create, you only have like a battery, 100 charge every day. And if you're going to do two markets instead of one, now what are you going to do? You're going to give 25 or 50% to the second market, which is you're not making the same amount of money. When you could put that whole 100% on this market and make more money per deal and get more network and more. And what I found was like, listen, stay focused. If something's working, keep focused on it, try to be better at it. And people think, you're doing pretty good. And they think like, hey, I got it, but you don't have it. You're not the best. You can be the best. Work at being the best. And then when you get to be the best, create to be the leader that everybody is following. And you're already doing it. So why, if you're already great at playing football, would you go and say, you know what, I'm going to spend half my time playing basketball? It just doesn't make sense, especially if you want to be a professional. And that's why they got to make decisions. They don't know, not many of them can play baseball and football and hockey or whatever. So I'll get more into that one on another one. But make decisions, learn how to make decisions, understand that you make the decision before the things come. The decision is the first thing you do. So hope that helps you guys on a Friday. Have the best day of your life. Thanks.